We are live.
Boom! We gotta believe. Coors Light Quickie, brought to you by Coors Light, the beer that's made to chill, the beer that's made to get us through these next 16 games in 17 days.
16 games,
Oh,
17 days.
the quicker we can get off of that 17, the better. So pop a nice Coors Light tonight. Pop one now, pop one during the game, pop one in the post game when we come back on. KFC will join us for the post game. He had Friday Night Pints too. He's drinking some Coors Light at the office right now. So celebrate responsibly. Our friends at Golden, Colorado, Coors Brewing Company, bringing us a little quickie let's call it what it is. I mean, it's a big day in New York City. It's a big day all around America,
Country,
whatever
yeah.
you want to call it. And we had some really good stuff. I blogged about it today. There's some good stuff on Barstool if you want to read. Large's blog, KFC's video, the podcast Twisted History with Large and Annie. Basically much must read, watch, and listens. I mean, it hits all the senses there, right? Today's 9/11, obviously. And out of the blue, we find out the Mets are wearing the hats tonight. The first responder hats have been approved. It was on Maggie. What show is it now? I don't even know who's on the
Maggie
show.
and Moose.
Maggie and Moose, right?
Yeah.
Pete Alonso said they're rocking the hats, the first responder hats. That has been denied. The epitome of this tomfoolery is like the epitome of basically life is with the Wilpons, just like, and baseball in general under Seelig, under Manfred. It was absolutely preposterous that they never had the hats. They wouldn't allow the hats to begin with, when the goddamn like the motto of 9/11 is never forget the people who passed, never forget the unity that we showed as a country and as a city that day, never forget the people that ran towards the danger as everyone ran away from it. All those kind of things. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And they just finally out of the blue. I mean, I guess if you can't come to that kind of a realization during a global pandemic when everyone's just, this was a different year. I don't know about you, Kyle. This one just felt different than usual. We've had 18 of these before this year, obviously. It's my mom's. Kevin actually tweeted out. He's like, everyone remember to, anyone with birthdays. His mom's born on 9/11. My mom was born on 9/11. And I hate to say it, it skipped my mind at before he tweeted that around 10 a.m. to call her, because it's just like we've had a rough 6 months. We've had for a while. We've talked about it's basically like a meme at this point. To throw this on top of this is a big log to put on that giant fire of 2020. It's a lot to take in. So good on baseball, I guess, for doing the right thing finally, right?
Yeah, I mean they do it for, and obviously it's different circumstances, but everyone wears 42 for Jackie Robinson Day. They just did Roberto Clemente Day. All the Puerto Rican players were able to wear 21 for him. So here's the thing with this, Clem, is that they started it that year where they were able to wear the hats during the game, and it ran all the way through until almost, I think it said 2007. So This isn't something that it was a one and done type of thing, and then they wouldn't allow them to do it the rest of the way through. They just discontinued it, I guess, because they changed protocols on uniform in 2007. And from that point forward, it's you can wear cleats that show off whatever you want, whatever message you want to do, but you can't honor the people, their families, the people. There's just 6 degrees of separation. We're from New York, so obviously we knew a ton of people that were affected by it, but there's people across the country, across the world, that knew of somebody who was hurt by this in some way or another. And for them to finally figure it out in a year where, let's face it, the country is divided as it is, it's nice that everyone can agree on something when it comes to honoring the heroes that put their lives at risk day in and day out.
Yeah, exactly. The people that put their lives at risk, people that lost their lives, everything in between. And I mean, I remember when the NFL had that thing where they had everyone, it was obviously the breast cancer initiative, and then everyone started wearing pink, and then basically guys were just dressed in all pink, and then they're cutting back on it. And it's you guys are fighting, you guys are team cancer basically at some point. It just became a whole mess. And I remember that kind of thing. I don't remember if baseball had a similar issue but who gives a shit? It's if the Yankees can play God Bless America during the 8th inning or whenever it was, or if it was in after the 7th, I don't remember, you could just have these guys wear a hat one day a year. All right, listen, like, you know, they godfathered in the Lambeau Leap when they took away all these celebrations jumping in the crowd. I think the 9/11 remembrances and memorials, all that kind of stuff, that can get grandfathered in through all this.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out Pete Alonso for just, you know, bubbling this back up in the public consciousness. Fans have been talking about it forever on Twitter. It's like the Tom Seaver statue and the hats were like the two things that Mets fans have been banging the drum about, other than like fire the Wilpons, obviously. So it's nice to see that like all these things are actually getting done.
It's not just us. The Yankees are wearing them too. I don't know about the Nationals or the Orioles, whether or not they're going to be wearing them. I would imagine that they're going to allow them to if they wanted to. But it's a no-brainer. It's like, it's something that you know you're going to get points for. So it's like, why not just do that if you're Manfred? I don't know what took him so long to figure it out.
Public relations, just like free good public relations, and it's like, and it's doing the right thing. There's honestly, like, I would love to just sit in the room, and I know they have probably their counterpoints to it, and not one of them is a good counterpoint. I could just tell you flat out, it's just not a good counterpoint. It's just stupid. It's a hat, exactly. Then it becomes a bigger thing that's worth it. We're talking about it here instead of just doing it. So shout out to Pete. I think Pete Alonso was 6 years old when 9/11 happened, and he basically got a bunch of people who probably witnessed it, lived through it, all that kind of stuff, who were probably in like their 20s, 30s, and they're probably old men working at Major League Baseball now to actually change their policies and fucking set them straight. So shout out Pete Alonso for once again. I think that's when the King of New York thing got started too. I think that's when we started. He was closing it on
He petitioned to wear the hats, and they told him no. So he was like, "Great, I'm just gonna go out and buy the entire team cleats." He's like, "Problem solved." Like that, the rule makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's when it really started picking up the King of New York steam. It was like he was closing in on Judge. We smell blood in the water in terms of catching Judge. And then it's like, oh, yeah, and he's putting like the city on his back to get these things. Because you tweeted it out earlier, the Mike Piazza video. Again, I just say that. I got goosebumps right now. I hope people at home got goosebumps when we just say the words and then think it. The calls got goosebumps again here. Howie and everything. It's unbelievable. I mean, that's the moment. The Braves, obviously, the big comeback, all that stuff. The Mets don't even make the playoffs that year, but it was during that thing. It was against the Braves. I just remember Brian Jordan, who used to kill us back in the day too, looking at that ball sail over the fence. Just a moment that actually, you know, we both lived through it. It made things seem a little better for just a little while. And then, you know, like I remember in March of this year, I just stopped, or probably like April and May, I just stopped watching the news. I'm like, there's just no good news that's coming out now. It was kind of like that after 9/11. After like a week or so, I was like, I was in college. It was just depressing and all this shit. And you're a little scared. You don't know what's happening next. Piazza kind of made all those frowns turn upside down for a little while, and the players and Bobby V and the managers and everyone in the front office that kind of helped out at ground zero and all that stuff. So it felt like the entire city was moving in unison for like the first time in our lives. And it was an unbelievable, I mean, it's the most unbelievable moment in like Mets history when it comes down to it.
It's not even Mets history. Like that is a moment where all of America, if you weren't watching it live, you've seen that clip. The hairs still stand up on your arms and the back of your neck. You see because they gave out tickets to all the families and the fire departments and all that, like police department. So they're all in the crowd. You got all these guys like arms around each other, just showing support. It's a very rare thing for people in New York to support each other. Like, let's be honest. Like, you walk down the street and someone calls you an asshole just for walking on the wrong side of the road. Like, so the way that it happened, the way that it broke down, MLB Network tweeted out the clip of Piazza saying he actually it doesn't get embarrassed, but he shrinks in that moment when people come up and thank him for, he's like, I didn't do anything. I'm not a hero to you guys. He's like, I was barely holding it together myself. I just got like a good pitch to hit, and he hit it off the fucking tower in center field. But it's just, sports are a weird thing like that, where you could rally around something that everybody is on board with.
Yeah, it's an all-time cool moment. And, it's crazy. It's like the way that Major League Baseball bungled all this, the way like the Piazza jersey was handled. I mean, it just goes back to the Wilpons and baseball and the things that drive us not about the sport. But you know what? We're not going to worry about that. We're moving on to bigger and better. I think I saw the Players Association and the Mets were the two people that kind of spurred this. I'm not going to, hold out hope that it was the Wilpons actually, fighting for it. I imagine it was probably Alonso saying, hey, let's figure this the fuck out, guys. Whatever it is, it's on the field. It's happened. Hopefully it continues. Next year's the 20th anniversary. Mets, Yankees, I think we say 4th of July and 9/11. They're playing each other next year. So
We were texting about it. Like, I went on the website today because it's obviously top of mind, and I was like, oh, I keep seeing the commercials for single game tickets, so I'm like, okay, like let me go check this out. And the entire map is already blacked out, and I'm like, either they're not selling tickets to it or it's sold out instantly. And then I hit up my buddy that still works there, and he's like, yeah, we sold out as soon as we put them live. He's like, we're holding off for anyone who's looking to go to the game. They're holding off tickets for like the packages, but if those don't get sold, they'll be releasing more. But I mean, that's going to be the hottest ticket in town for anybody, like New Yorkers, casual fans. It's just like a moment where they did everything right up until this point. So they're letting them wear the hats this year. They made sure to schedule them playing against each other the following year. It's just going to be a celebration of the country and everybody that was involved. So get your tickets.
Yeah, get your tickets. We'll see what the country looks like in a year from now. I hope, hopefully, in a year we're all. I'm not going to think. I know it's not going to be good. We'll be better. Is all we can hope for at this point. Mm-hmm. Speaking of things that are, I mean, just not getting better. J-Rod just refuses to go down with. They just continue throwing shit up. I said it's like a fucking kid telling their mom, "Listen, I'll clean the house. I'll do I'll take out the garbage for a month. I'll do this. Just don't take away my video games." The J-Rod bid. Now it's a $200 million breakup clause, which I guess if like something falls through. Oh no,
right.
So if something falls through with the breakup or whatever, and then they got dude Mark Lohr from Walmart, the CEO of Walmart, is putting in just casually hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, why wasn't this so big to begin with? You got motherfucking.
This is the problem with. I think that once A-Rod stepped away and put J-Lo at the forefront, she's got way more connections and like way deeper pockets, I would say, between the two of them. Like she rolls in some heavy crowds, let's be honest. So when it came to that, how do you have a bid and this is going to be the final day of the bid and you're like, this is where we're cutting it off. And then you're allowing them to circumvent the bid in case it falls apart. They're trying to force the owners in the vote in November not to vote for him so that they can get the Walmart money and get like this brain trust together. Because if it's just Cohen by himself, all the other teams are going to have such a hard time competing because he has so much more money than them. At least in their head, they're trying to tell them, hey, we got like too many cooks in the kitchen. We're going to have 6 people to fuck up this team. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of money, but at least you guys will have a shot. I don't understand how MLB, the Wilpons, I can understand how the Wilpons could, but how MLB could like not step in and be like, you can't divulge any more money or information on something that's already closing.
Yeah, I honestly think it's all just a bunch of nonsense. I saw the lawyers are throwing it in, and it's probably just going there. Again, all you're doing is just like, even if it's the same crew and they're just adding more money to the bid, it's like that bid did not have like the appeal, I think, than Steve Cohen has. You know what I mean? Like they're biggest thing with Steve Cohen is he's going to spend too much money. He had some shady stuff in his past. Alex Rodriguez literally sued the Major League Baseball Players Association. He literally was fighting with Rod Manfred over like his suspension. There's a lot more bad blood with there than like all those billionaires who were just like, oh, the SEC, you got, oh yeah, me too. Like they're probably exchanging fucking war stories about the SEC, like pitched them for shit. And Steve Cohen was never found guilty about that. Goddammit. We were pro Steve Cohen podcast. We're not going to slander him with saying he was found guilty of anything.
I can see Cohen walking into that meeting and being like, I will invest the owner's money, like pool it all together. I'll get you guys into point 72 and you guys can be rich too. I'll make you as rich as I am.
Can you imagine that? Like, I see like the owner's like fucking house number and is like, hey, can you tell me how to become a billionaire like you are? Like, I just got my daddy's money. Like, how can you do that? He's just be like, guys, I can make you guys like basically all billionaires, like super duper billionaires tomorrow. So yeah, I'm not too worried about this thing. I mean, I don't like that it keeps popping up. It just like adds to the anxiety of, again, even when there's, bases empty, 0-2, 2 outs, up 7 in the ninth. It's not in the books until Howie says it's in the books, and it's not in the books yet. Tonight, we're going to open the books. That's the other side of this thing here. We're doing game previews, and hopefully we can put in the books. We got Jake on the mound tonight, DeGrom Day. I was actually thinking how, like, Harvey Day was such a big thing because it was, like, our first bastion of, like, happiness in years because it was those dark days that led to him. And he was, like, our one shining grace. DeGrom Day isn't even a thing. It's just like, oh, Jake's on the mound, and you are expecting the offense to no-show and the bullpen to blow a lead. I don't know if that's part of it, but we really are just, like, spoiled by, the best pitcher – of his generation at this point. It's getting there.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you win, he's on pace for the 3rd Cy Young, knock on wood. But he's number 1 in ERA. He just fell behind Bauer in strikeouts, but he's pitching tonight, so you would assume he's going to jump him again. And this will be his 9th start. So he leads in every single category in the National League at this point. 169 is like, you could say Bieber is having a better year because his numbers are better and he is striking out the world. But on a consistency basis, this guy is pound for pound the best pitcher of his generation, with the exception of like Scherzer in the early part of the decade.
Yeah, I mean, and at that point, you just start spreading them out through their careers and all that stuff, and it would be kind of interesting to see of like, because Scherzer was fucking filthy in his own right when he was winning Cy Youngs back to back and all that shit. Did he go 3 in a row? Did he go with a 3-peat?
No one's done 3 in a row since Randy Johnson, and Randy Johnson won 4 in a row.
Randy Johnson was just silly. And then he had like a bunch of other ones along the way too. Like he was just so goddamn stupid how good he was. So we got Jake on the bump tonight. We got Nimmo in center. You know, fuck that. Conforto. At this point, I think all the Conforto haters are either have been converted or have just given up hope or have jumped off a bridge. JD Double Davis. Third, Dom, the Dominator, your boy, our man, Dom Smith. Robbie Cano, probably just doing enough to like make me not completely want to rip the rest of my hair out. Pete at DH. McNeil in left. God, you're going to hold my breath every time the ball goes up. Give me Jimmy at short, and then Ramos catching. Goddamn Wilson Ramos. His stock, he's sunk like he has in that order. That is like the metaphor for Wilson Ramos is like a stock in Mets fans' eyes.
I mean, can't hit, can't catch, can't block, can't throw.
Can't win with them. Can't do it. It's like Mike Singletary over here. I
think Dom at first base. I think that's becoming the staple, especially if they're going to move to the DH for full time next year. It just makes so much more sense. He's a better first baseman. We need both of them on the team. Alonso's a stud when he's getting his rest. Imagine how many home runs he could hit if his legs are more fresh. Where he's just sitting on the bench. It's not for everybody. Some people need to play in the field, but he's not a better defender. So it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's the DH has really broken and well for us, and we'll see what happens next year if it goes back and then they switch it for good after the CBA, all that stuff. Knowing our luck, whatever the worst. No, you know what? We're not going to think worst case. This is Met stuff. It's a new era. It's a new era is on its way, I should say, and that new era will be there next season. So we're going to just leave it at that. We go to Buffalo, first time in Buffalo. I don't know about you. I imagine everyone watching, anyone that fucking follows us is a Barstool person. Loves Buffalo. I mean, Bills Mafia, the Savages, my wildlings up north, as I call them, the free folk. I love them. They are, it's our first time there. I know the Yankees were complaining about the lights or the lighting or whatever. They couldn't see the ball. I don't care if it's a AAA stadium. The Buffalo Blue Jays, I was all about them. Jays Mafia. Their lineup, I pulled that up. They got Biggio. I forget. God damn.
Vladdy Jr.
Bo Bichette is out, unfortunately. What?
You know what's weird? No, their lineup is stacked. Like I think it was they've won 11 of their last like 17. Like they're definitely on a run right now. And every time I'm like, oh, Jake hasn't faced this team before. Like, I hope he does well. But on the flip side, it's like the batters haven't seen Jake, so he always just like shoves his bat up their ass.
It's unfair that they have to face him for the first. I am interested to see Vladdy Jr. against Jake, just because Vladdy Sr. was my dude back in the day. And I do feel like Vladdy Jr. could haunt us like his daddy did, because his dad owned us and wore us out.
We should have had him too, which made it so much worse.
I waited for us to get him so long. I was waiting for Vladdy Jr. or Vladdy Sr. to become a Met, and he just never did, obviously, in that bow-legged stance. So yeah, and Chase Anderson on the bump, like whatever, who gives a shit? Jake, just go out, throw 7. The bullpen will hopefully get us. The trustworthy Edwin Diaz will close out the game, no problem. Shout out our guy Joe DeMeo, who was watching us as Kevin was talking his shit, but it's nothing but love here. We're fans. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, again, the Buffalo Blue Jays, 6:37 start. I love we're still going weird-ass Canadian time here. Let's get fucking freaky with it. I guess, do we have to do the Canadian anthem? I think we might have to, no matter what.
Yeah, I would say so.
Blue Jays. Yeah.
So, but you know what? I mean, Toronto better watch out, because I'm sure that Buffalo loves having a professional team there, and it's pretty close to Canada as it is, and they're looking for expansion teams. I think they were looking in do you see the report that Connor Knapp put out, Big Ten, about Justin Timberlake's part of like some money group to get a team in Tennessee? They could put one in Buffalo tomorrow, and everyone would be fine with the way it is.
Yeah, I am putting my vote in strictly hard for Buffalo. And I mean, Toronto tried to steal the Bills, so now they can try to steal the Blue Jays from them. A nice little war up north there. Jesus Christ. Yeah,
gotta think that DeGrom is going to try to go a complete game tonight, right? I mean, he does it every night, but if it's going to be a night where he does it for the season, I feel like he's going to go out there pumping.
There are some young bats in there too that are probably going to chase. Like he knows what he's doing there. He's just ready to pounce. So yeah, I'll be interested to see. And yeah, God, Buffalo. Like I went to a Brewers game a few years ago, or shit, it was probably a while ago now, and it was a Saturday game against the White Sox. And I guess the White Sox used to be their rivals back in the AL Central or whatever the fuck it was days, when they were in the American League. It was like it was a fucking football game. It was like a Packers game. It was just people getting hammered. They're doing keg stands, funnels. And that was just like, I just did a beeline because we were so hungover from the night before went out in Chicago after a Cubs game. We did a beeline straight to the stadium. And I had like 4 beers in me just by the time I got into the game in like a 10-minute walk. Not even looking to drink because I was going to like die. So if Buffalo gets that, you throw Bills Mafia in the summer where it's nice outside and it's easier just to party and all that kind of stuff. So shout out Buffalo. Hopefully no bad blood. Hopefully a nice clean series here. And we'll see where we go from there. I mean, they're in the mix too. They were hot. They've been hot for a little bit. So we'll see where we go from here. We got our Coors Lights on deck, keeping us chilling during whatever chaos the Mets have for our souls. And and that was the other thing here. Randazzo's on the call tonight, it says.
I did see that.
Bogies Lives Matter. Yeah, I didn't know that. That threw me for a big loop. I'm happy we know that going into the mix. I feel prepared because nothing works when Barry's not there. It's like you come home and there's just a different parent waiting for you.
Yeah,
like, you're not my dad.
It's weird how they just interchange Randazzo between TV and radio. Also,
yeah, that's
He's got 2 contracts. He's double dipping. Good on him. Get that money, King.
Get that bag, kid. Get that bag.
All right, so we got 6:37, and here's hoping that it's a nice quick one. Yep.
Quick game. Get a couple. We celebrate responsibly with our nice cold Coors Lights, and we pop one over in the post game. Catch us back here pretty much right after the game ends. We try to pop it in. A, so then it's fresh. B, because we're old men. And actually, me and Kev are old men. I'm not giving you the old man title yet, Kyle. You're still staying up till 3 a.m. in San Francisco like a fucking lunatic. Right. So we'll see you guys on the other side here. Yeah, at least it's not Gary Apple. And as always, gotta believe.
Gotta believe.